Situation ethics. Situation ethics, a radical ethical framework developed by Joseph Fletcher in the 1960s, emerged as a response to the perceived rigidity of traditional moral codes and the social and cultural upheavals of the era. This theological and ethical theory challenges the primacy of absolute moral rules and emphasizes the importance of contextual decision-making based on the principle of love. Fletcher positions situation ethics as a middle ground between legalism, which rigidly adheres to fixed rules, and antinomianism, which denies the existence of any moral absolutes. Legalism. Criticized for its inflexibility, legalism fails to account for the complexities and nuances of real-life situations. Antinomianism. While offering freedom, antinomianism risks moral chaos and provides no guidance for ethical decision-making. Situation ethics asserts that love, specifically Christian agape, understood as selfless, unconditional love for all, is the sole absolute principle. All other moral rules and principles are subordinate to this overarching principle. Pragmatism. Ethical decisions must be practical and have beneficial consequences in the real world. Relativism. Moral judgments are relative to the specific situation, and absolute rules can be overridden if love demands it. Fletcher emphasized that this does not imply moral relativism in the sense that anything goes. Rather, it means that the absolute of love takes precedence over other moral absolutes. Positivism. Ethical decisions should be based on faith in the Christian understanding of love, rather than solely on reason or philosophical arguments. Personalism. People are more important than rules and laws. The needs and well-being of individuals should always take precedence over the rigid adherence to abstract principles. Only love is intrinsically good. All other values are instrumental and derive their worth from their ability to serve love. Love is the only norm. Love is the sole guiding principle for all ethical decision-making. Love and justice are the same. Justice is simply the equitable distribution of love. Love wills the neighbor's good, whether we like them or not. Love demands concern for all individuals, regardless of personal feelings or biases. Only the end justifies the means. The moral worth of an action is determined solely by its consequences. If an action leads to the most loving outcome, it is justified, regardless of the means employed. Love decides there and then. Ethical decisions must be made in the specific context of the situation and may vary depending on the circumstances. Fletcher viewed conscience not as a static inner voice dictating predetermined rules, but as a process of discernment. He emphasized the importance of critical reflection and careful consideration of the specific situation in making ethical judgments. Flexibility and adaptability. Situation ethics offers a flexible framework that can accommodate the complexities and nuances of real-life situations. Emphasis on love. By prioritizing love and compassion, situation ethics aligns with the core values of many religious and ethical traditions. Humanistic focus. It emphasizes the importance of human needs and well-being, placing people above rigid rules and abstract principles. Relevance to modern society. In an increasingly diverse and complex world, situation ethics offers a framework for navigating ethical dilemmas that may not be easily resolved by rigid moral codes. Critics argue that the emphasis on individual judgment and subjective interpretation of love could lead to moral relativism and the potential for abuse. The concept of agape itself is open to interpretation and can be easily manipulated to justify self-serving actions. The Nazi Guard objection highlights the potential for individuals to justify harmful actions based on a distorted or self-serving understanding of love. The Nazi Guard objection highlights the potential for individuals to justify harmful actions based on a distorted or self-serving understanding of love. The Nazi Guard objection highlights the potential for individuals to justify harmful actions based on a distorted or self-serving understanding of love. Critics argue that situation ethics undermines fundamental moral principles, such as the sanctity of life, by prioritizing the perceived good of the individual situation. The emphasis on consequences can potentially justify actions that are inherently wrong, such as lying or breaking promises. While aiming to provide flexibility, situation ethics may not offer sufficient guidance for individuals facing complex moral dilemmas. The absence of clear rules can lead to confusion and uncertainty in decision-making. Critics argue that situation ethics overemphasizes love at the expense of other important Christian virtues, such as justice, mercy, and forgiveness. Some argue that it misinterprets the Bible, focusing solely on the command to love, while neglecting other important teachings and principles. Fletcher argued that the Bible should not be interpreted as a collection of rigid legalistic rules, but as a source of guidance and inspiration. He emphasized the importance of interpreting the Bible in light of the overarching principle of love. Critics, particularly those adhering to the doctrine of sola scriptura, argue that Fletcher's approach undermines the authority of Scripture and disregards important biblical teachings on justice, righteousness, and the importance of adhering to God's commandments. Critics argue that human beings are inherently fallible and prone to self-serving biases, granting individuals the freedom to determine the most loving course of action in each situation could lead to morally questionable decisions. The argument that power corrupts suggests that unchecked freedom and autonomy could lead to abuse and exploitation. Situation ethics, while offering a compelling alternative to rigid moral codes, presents significant challenges. Its emphasis on individual judgment and the potential for subjective interpretation raise concerns about its potential for abuse and its ability to provide consistent and reliable moral guidance. Despite these criticisms, situation ethics continues to be a valuable framework for ethical reflection. It encourages critical thinking, contextual awareness, and a focus on the well-being of others. By carefully considering the potential consequences of our actions and striving to act in ways that promote love and compassion, we can navigate the complexities of moral decision-making in a more nuanced and responsible manner.